coordinate.
I know. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Hustle to Hero podcast. I am here with an amazing, beautiful lady, Yolanda Marie Tate. We're going to get a little bit of background on this amazing veteran. And thank you very much for your service, Yolanda. We really appreciate it. And I would love for you to do an introduction, and then we can kind of just dive into your story.
Awesome. Thank you, Kali, for having me here. I'm so excited about this podcast. So, my name is Yolanda Marie Tate. I'm a 29-year U.S. Army veteran, retired back in 2018, came out the military, went into the tech space and also entrepreneurship. And so, I am the owner of Elevate to Wellness, where I empower and inspire and equip veterans and also women who are transitioning into the tech space to help them to go from unsure to unstoppable by leaning into their strengths in order to go into that lucrative career in tech. But also, the most important thing is all about their holistic wellness and well-being, because we know when it's time to transition, to pivot, to do all those things, it's actually something that's pretty scary for people. And so you want to make sure that they understand what it is and how to put their holistic wellness and their well-being first when we're going through these changes in life.
I love that. And so, Yolanda, a couple questions. When you were about to get out, um, what what were your thoughts? Did you know exactly what you're going to do, or did you struggle? Talk to us about that journey, because I think I want people to hear. Listen, this is what you're going to go through. There are people out there that have already gone through it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so my transition was kind of interesting. I wasn't planning on retiring at 29 years. I was planning on going to full 30 or even more. I was working at the time as the Command Sergeant Major of the United States Army Corps of Engineers in the Pacific Ocean Division in Hawaii. So I was stationed in Hawaii. And so my time was up in that position and I was looking for another job. And doors were just not opening because my background is engineer and most of the stuff was in combat engineering. And as a woman, it's not too many opportunities in combat roles, especially when you're up in higher ranks. So pretty much I had to retire. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and retire. I knew a year out that I was going to retire. So I started going to Soldier for Life, looking to see what I wanted to do. I knew I was coming back to the DMV, the DC area, and we know it's all about government jobs. But one thing I knew is that I did not want to be a government employee. And so I was like, I'm either going to go into contracting or I'm going to start my own business. And so I just started doing a lot of research and going to classes, talking to different people who had already made that transition. So that was a key thing, tapping into my network, whether it was through LinkedIn, whether it's through people I already knew that retired, to kind of know their story so that they can help me so I wouldn't make the same mistakes that they made. And so one of the things that I did is that as soon as I knew I was coming back to the DMV area, I started really researching what big opportunities are out there. And the biggest opportunity that was out here in this region is all around tech. And even though my background was mostly leadership and I hadn't been in any tech positions, what I decided to do is when I got back to the area, I actually went to a hiring event. I actually went to 3 hiring events, but the second one that I went to, it was a security hiring event. So at that event, they wanted everybody that had a security clearance. Of course, I had a security clearance, so I went. And so when I got there, I was like, okay, I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to come in here and let them know, hey, I don't really have a tech background, but what I do know is people, processes, and systems. I know leadership. I know how to manage people. I know how to come into an organization and be a valuable team member. And so I went there. I smiled. I showed myself. I talked. I was authentic. And I got 3 callbacks. And that's what started my journey into transitioning out of the military. Also having that mindset to capitalize on the strengths that I had, that leadership, knowing people, knowing systems, really getting involved and engaged. So just as much as them selling stuff to me, I was selling myself to them. And so I had to kind of just step back a little bit during that journey and during that whole process to really figure out what was it that I really wanted. And I didn't want to just jump and grab any position at first. So I really did research. So the one thing that I would tell everybody is do research on anything that you want to transition into. Don't just jump into it. Take your time. You don't have to rush. Make sure you plan ahead of time so that way you can do some good research.
I like that, and I think research is a fabulous way to start, and it's and also looking at your network, because talking to them, being
Mhm.
really like, listen, be vulnerable and learn. Like, hey, listen, I know you maybe have gone through that, and can you tell me? Can you help me? Can you help me not make those same mistakes? So, it's almost like where you didn't say find a mentor. But it is like a mini mentor. Like, listen,
Um,
you've already done it, man. Can you help me walk through this? And to me, that's golden.
when you said mentor, so one thing that I talk about all the time is it's great to have a mentor. And that's so important. But again, utilizing your network. And then when you do get into a position where you do find a career fair, a field, and you go into your job, you want to find mentors, you want to find advocates, and you want to find sponsors. And they're three different things. And so your sponsor is someone who is going to really truly be that advocate for you behind closed doors because they know what you're doing. They're giving you advice. They see you're talking to them. But that mentor is going to be that one that's going to be with you every step of the way. But that mentor may not be exposed to things that a sponsor can be able to expose you to. And your mentor doesn't have to be somebody that's on your job, doesn't have to be somebody close. It could be somebody that's in another industry that's helping you, that's a mentor. And so I think people have to understand that. But getting back to my story, one thing that I struggle with, and a lot of people coming out of the military will struggle with, and that's negotiating your salary because you don't learn a
Great
lot
topic. Great topic.
negotiating your salary. And so when you do your research, you have to research that organization, especially if you go to a hiring event, you get some callbacks. Make sure you do your research on those companies. Find out if they won any major large contracts. If it's a contracting company, find out with the government what exactly are they doing, how many contracts do they have, what's going on, so you can negotiate your salary. So for me, even coming out as a command sergeant major, what's so sad about it, being an enlisted soldier, they tell you when you come out, especially if you want a government job, that you're going to come out at a lower level in the government system. Even though you did all those years of service, you led people, organizations, all kinds of things. And so you have to know how to equate your skills to your salary. And so for me, that's why I didn't want to go government at first. I went contracting. And so the company that got me, it was a smaller company, but they had just won some major contracts. And so I'm going in and I'm like, okay, I have a range. So I started out, I said, I'm going to start with six figures. I'm just going to hit it. And I'm thinking, okay, that's the big thing. So I said, I would like 125 coming out the door. They did not hesitate. They did not blink. They did nothing. They just said, okay, we good. Do you want the job? And I was like, oh,
What?
okay. I'm thinking to myself, like, I should have did better research because
Yeah.
they was
You
willing to
sold
pay
you
me.
sold yourself short, is what you
Yeah,
were thinking. Yeah.
because they were willing to give me more, but I didn't know that at the time because they don't teach you all that or you don't know about that. Because when
Yeah.
you're in the military, you're only thinking about your rank, your position. You're so,
Yeah.
ingrained in that. You're not really thinking about the salary part of it.
I want to hold right there because again, because now we're going down this pipe of mentoring. And I tell people, listen, mentoring, I am a mentor, I'm a coach, but I'm a business, I help people start businesses instead of either staying in a minimum wage hellhole or, staying with the job that you don't know. And I'm telling you, Yolanda, what I teach and preach is a mentor will actually save you money. And you've
Mhm,
just hit the nail on the head.
mhm,
If you would have had a mentor. Maybe it's like, hey, working with somebody that's already in that field for a couple of months, getting
yeah,
you prepared and talking about research and all that. You would have maybe gone and said, yeah, but I want to do 140. And
mhm,
that part that you would have quote unquote paid for a mentor would have made you money.
Would have definitely, because at that time, mostly everybody I knew were not going into contracting. They were going into government jobs where the salary range is kind of already given to you. But if you're going into the truly into the private sector, you got to do your research. Like you said, you have to have a mentor and you have to understand what that company is doing, how many contracts they have, what's the money that they're willing to give, all of that stuff. And so I knew the government system, but I didn't understand that private system as much as I do now, or should have
Yeah.
known back then.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that
So
was,
now what did you do? Did you go ahead and take that job?
oh yeah, I did. And the reason why, and I'm gonna say this, because money isn't everything. You have to look at what are the benefits that that company has, and outside of that, you have to look at the culture. And so the culture was the number one thing with that company. So the company isn't there anymore. The company name was Baraco at the time. The company got acquired, it's not there anymore. That company got acquired. Now I'm at Essential Federal Services, which is a whole other story. But the culture is so important. The culture of that organization was all around military. And so about 40% of their employees were prior military and veterans. And I saw the way and heard in the description, because I was interviewing them just like they was interviewing me. And I'm all about the culture and taking care of people and your well-being and your wholeness and all that stuff. And so I got that feeling, and you know when something is right. So I knew to go with that company. And so you always want to look at, yes, salary is important, but you also want to look at what is that culture going to be like? Is it going to
Absolutely.
sustain you for what you need?
Right. Well, and it culture also equals what am I going to be happy there? Because you know
Yes.
what, a job is a job, but if you're not going to be happy, it's going to be really bad. And so,
Mhm.
and I again, I teach and preach, man. You know, like be happy with what you're doing.
Oh
You
my
have to
goodness.
love it, or don't do it.
Yes. And it's when it comes to that culture, I'm all about wellness and well-being. If you got leaders who are not taking the time, like, when your leaders don't take rest themselves, or your leaders, they're constantly going and pushing and they're trying to push everybody else to do it, or they're not empathetic to hear people's needs, or they're always barking or yelling or even cussing and saying stuff like that. That's not an environment that's going to produce productive employees. And so we have to understand that. And it's totally different than being in the military. So I always try to tell everybody it's a different shift. When you're coming from the military, we're used to orders, we're used to doing things a certain way, we're used to, you know knowing that everything is like a battle drill. You kind of know what to do, and there's always somebody there to help you. But when you go into the private sector, sometimes you're going to get a task, you're going to get an assignment that you're going to have to do, and you're not going to get nobody to give you the instructions
Yeah.
of how to do it, or anybody to talk to. You have to learn it yourself, especially in tech. And then as an entrepreneur, that's something
Yes.
totally different,
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different ball game. So I tell everybody, when you have a job and you have a boss, you kind of have some direction and way to go.
Yes.
But when you're just coming out, it's a whole different thing when you're just coming out the military. And then if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's a whole different ball game.
It is, and that's what we love to talk about is entrepreneurship. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's especially with I help the reentry community and also the
Yes.
veterans, and both have two different types of
Mhm.
challenges, right? You know, my son is a badass special force guy. He's a master sergeant. He's got about 4 years left.
Awesome.
I cannot believe that, but
Time
I
to go
love
by
talking to him.
fast.
Thank you, thank you. I'm a military brat, and it's like
Mhm.
I think that it's you, the veterans and the war hero. You know, the war, the of any type of service.
Mhm.
You are told what to do. You know what to do. You know what you're doing tomorrow, the next day, and you know what's expected of you. But coming out as an entrepreneur, you're like, whoa, okay,
Mhm.
now what do I do? How do I make sure that I'm not going to make those mistakes? And how do I get my
Sure.
business off the ground? And that's the part that I love is teaching people how to do that. So, Yolanda, now, so now how do you roll what you were doing now into you obviously are very much into the health and wellness. Let's move into that
Yes.
health and wellness space.
Mhm. So for me, it started in the military. So I've always been a physically fit person. So that has got me through so much stuff in the military. So outside of that, though, being a senior leader and most of the time being the only female, and a lot of times being the only Black female, there were a lot of challenges with that because I didn't have anybody else to talk to. A lot of times I was taking on a lot on myself, and on the outside, I looked like I was all together. But on the inside, I was really falling apart because I felt like I was alone. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was pushing myself too hard. And so it wasn't until I actually talked to a therapist myself, because I'm thinking I'm the strong one. I don't need to talk to nobody. I got this all together. But a friend told me, really talk to a therapist. And when I talked to a therapist, that's when I realized that I needed to do more on the inside for myself. Stop worrying about what's out here, take off that mask, and do the work. And so that's what I did. And so I started learning more about mindfulness training, started learning more about mental fitness. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month for May, but mental health awareness should be every single day because all of us are struggling with something. And so we have to find ways that we can not only cope with it, not only deal with it, but we can find ways that we can be able to thrive through those
Yeah.
challenges. And so for me, it's meditation, it's prayer, it's journaling, it's affirmations. I find little things throughout the day. I have a morning routine, an evening routine, things that's going to help me get through it. Even just stopping 5 minutes to pause and breathe is so important. There's so many of us that don't do it. And so many of us don't take the time to sit still and just enjoy the present moment because we're always rushing and doing different things. But just to take time in to enjoy where you are right now. And so that's what I try to teach people as you're going through these transitions, as you're pivoting into different things in life, to really enjoy the present moment and to take care of yourself from the inside out. And so that's what my business is all about.
I think that's beautiful. And I think that without having that self awareness and without being
Mm,
able to take care of yourself, how can you possibly take care of your business? Much less
yeah.
your business and be, be present and be perhaps a mother, father, perhaps a sister, perhaps, how can you do all of that? You can't, and you will wear yourself out.
And as leaders in any industry, even as an entrepreneur, this is so important because people look to you. You don't realize how many people are watching you.
Oh, yes.
And they're
Oh, yes.
seeing everything that you're doing. And on the other side of it, your presence and the way that you show that you're all about taking care of yourself and taking care of others, people will see that. They may not say anything to you, but your presence can also make a difference as well.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
that's why that is so important. So I just really concentrate on finding ways because your wellness journey is a personal journey.
Yep.
Everybody's wellness journey is different. And so what works for me won't work for you, but just
Yep.
finding out what it is that you need to help you to be more whole, to be more well in everything that you do. And that doesn't
I've
mean it's going to be perfect. I had to say that.
No,
It doesn't
100%. No, no, exactly.
mean-
It's always been health and fitness has always been very, very important to me. I'm a very active person,
Yes.
and without that, I can't. I mean, like if I going outside and breathing in the nature, and either going for a fast walk or just whatever it is. And everybody's fitness journey is different. So
Mhm.
again, yours and mine, it's different. But you have to take care of the body and
Yeah.
take care of the mind. You cannot have a healthy business without having a healthy mindset.
So it's the mindset, it's your body, and it's also your soul.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
all about soul care. Finding out, and I tell everybody it's not about religion, it's about your
Hmm.
spirituality. You
Yep.
have to believe in something, and it starts within. And so taking care of that soul is just as important as that self-care that we talk about all the
Yes.
time. Everybody talks about self-care, but really it's about taking care of your soul. And it's not about getting a manicure or a pedicure or none of those things. It could be something simple. Like you
Yeah.
said, it could be going outside in nature and just hearing the
Yeah.
birds chirp around you. Whatever it is that makes your soul feel good so that you can appreciate it, that you can see that beauty all around you, that's what matters.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it creates the positivity, because if
mm,
you're not positive, you're not productive.
you're not. You're
Yep.
not at
Yep.
all. That positivity is so important. When we think positive thoughts, then we act positively.
Yes.
So it
Agree.
starts
Agree.
in the mind, and then we got to speak it, and then we got to do it. So,
I agree. All right, Yolanda, before we wrap it up, I would
yeah.
like to be able to. I know that you do a lot of different coaching. My listeners will have your links. If you've got a workshop, my listeners are going to have that. I am really looking forward to connecting with you at the Veterans. That community out in Woodbridge. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be there. I'm in Utah right now, but as soon as I get back, I'm gonna be able to join, and I hope to be able
Yes,
to see you more and more. And I,
definitely.
I would love for you to be a part of my network, so that I can rely on you about this mindset of coaching.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So the biggest thing that talk about Woodbridge. So the organization that Kali is talking about is called Veterans Growing America. They do a lot of
Thank you.
wonderful things for veterans in the DMV area. And so next Thursday, there is actually a panel that we're doing with some certified psychiatrists and therapists, and we're going to be talking about that pivoting and how
Lovely.
women we're transitioning and doing different things. So that is next Thursday. I think that's May the 8th at 6 p.m. And then on June the 5th, Kylie, you came to our last event, but we're
Yes.
having
Yes.
another Women of Grit and Grace. And so we're asking all women, this is an empowerment event for women. And the way that we do this is with me and two of my fellow sister in arms. Matter of fact, Rochelle was on your show just
Yes.
recently.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, yes, Rochelle and also GI, we come together, we bring women together at VGA to have small group discussions, really deep discussions, not this surface level stuff. We get deep and talk about some things that we can help each other with to build community and also help us in our journey in life, in our professional careers, and everything that we're doing. So that's June the 5th at 6 p.m. We'll be
Wonderful.
promoting it all on
Yep.
LinkedIn and doing some lives as well on that. And then the last thing is that I do have a product, a wellness tool that I just launched that I'm doing a lot of great things with called the Wellness Warrior card
Oh,
and journey
lovely.
set. Yes. And so in that set, it's a card set that has 62 cards. And two of the cards is instruction and welcome. The rest of the cards, the 60 cards for 60 days, you have a wellness activity, the benefit of that activity, as well as a reflection that you use the journal for to kind of reflect on everything that you did with that activity. And so you can use that for yourself. You can use that for your teams, your ERGs, all that stuff. And so, yeah, you can check that out, and Kylie will have that link.
You got it. I'll do that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You guys, thank you so much. I will put all the links to the events coming up, and we'll be able to connect. Thank you so much, Yolanda. I really, really appreciate you. And I hope that you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Kylie.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye bye.